So finally, it's the same topic as Werner told about, but maybe a different point of view. So as you know right now, there are 4 topics for this standard, and I will focus on daylight provision and, well, tell you about my feeling about this standard. So we studied a base case, very simple room, square room, 5 by 5 and 2.8 meter height. And well, it's located in Paris, and the base case is the upper floor. I mean the best position in the building. Now, if we look at daylight provision, as mentioned by Werner, you have a ranking on median value and also a ranking on minimum value. Median value is examined on the wall surface, and minimum value is on 95% of the room. So this small room, which is fully glazed and not so deep, reaches the medium ranking for both median and minimum. Now, so the global ranking for daylight provision is median. Now, if we look at the change of the window to floor ratio, or the change of the size of the room, it's always 2.8 meter high, but the depth increase or decrease, and the width in the same proportion. So what we can see is that if we aggregate median and minimum ranking, so even in an unobstructed environment, it's not so easy to reach medium ranking, and if you have a grazing ratio lower than 40%, then you're supposed to reach only minimum level, minimum ranking. Let's have a look at the outdoor environment. So it's really close to what Werner presented. If I go down in the building, then there's a probability not to reach any ranking if you are on the ground floor. So this is the point for this standard. Now, just the influence of indoor photometry. So here on the figures that are on the slide, for example, 8 means 0.8 for reflection coefficient of the ceiling, 0.6 it's for the walls, and 0.3 for the floor. So we can see that even with a moderate decrease of the reflection coefficient, then it can lead to no ranking. In that case, I'm not at the upper floor, but just one floor below. Now, and that's a good point for me. If on this small room, if I add any additional layer, or either glazed facade or whatever, metal, then the probability to reach no ranking is very high. Now, as you know, in the standard, there are 2 calculation methods, the detailed and the simplified. Simplified is based on the static simulation, daylight factor, and detailed is based on dynamic simulations, I mean hourly simulations. And sometimes there are differences between the 2 methods. Normally, if you do not include shading, the dynamic method is more optimistic. But now, if we include shading devices, then we have to use dynamic method and make hourly simulations. Then, if you use Venetian blinds, it doesn't modify a lot the result, because the reflection on the blinds, if they are not so dark, contribute to the daylight. If you use fabric blind, then you have more pessimistic estimation. And for electrochromics, it's in between. It means that if you want to have to get the influence of the shading device, then you have to use dynamic method, and then you have to suppose that there is an automated strategy. So it influences a lot the result. Now, just a view on the influence of localization, latitude. Of course, the same room in Athens or Oslo doesn't reach the same ranking. And well, for me that's a problem, but I mean, that's a problem because if you push, for example, in Oslo to increase the glazing ratio, then you will have an influence on the thermal performance of the room. So I've tried to examine that. So this is the first room, and then I compare it to 1 meter seal room, which is quite common, and to see the differences regarding heating loads. In that case, of course, we increased the heating loads in northern countries, but also in even Mediterranean countries. And for cooling loads, it's the same, but at the opposite. It means that you increase the cooling loads more in Athens, also. So here, in Athens, it's almost 6 kilowatts per square meter per year. And the difference between the two rooms regarding daylighting is not so, regarding lighting, is not so important. I mean, the discrepancy between the two, so it means if you overglaze your building, you will increase the sensibility to heat and heating and cooling, and not really change, in that case, the electricity due to electric lighting. So, my general feeling about this standard. Oh, the smileys are quite, well, not, excuse me. So it's very large standard, and it's a good thing. It's really demanding, and as Werner showed, well, when you are down close to the street, it's not easy to reach any ranking. My opinion is that it's not a good idea to make overglazed, well, fully glazed building, because it increases the sensibility regarding other building physics topics. So it's not really suited for urban environment or dense urban environment. Good news is that it eliminates rooms that are too deep. And very good news for me, it's is that you can't reach any ranking if you have double or external layer well, in front of the normal facade. And then, oh, it's I'm finished. So it could result in an over increased energy of building consumption, which is not in line with what we hear every day on TV and radio, and maybe Greta will not be very happy to see that we push the energy consumption. Thank you.